Pregnant German Shepherd, buried alive in a field. Baby's shocking discovery. Left. People. Sobbing. Noah wasn't supposed to be out that far. His little feet had barely crossed the backyard fence, toes squishing into soft dirt when he stopped. Something made him pause, a sound. Faint, like a whisper in the wind but sharper. A cry. Not loud, but enough to pull him toward it. He turned his head, squinted. The field of sunflowers stood tall, their golden faces dancing lazily in the breeze. Noah took one step, then another. He didn't know why he was walking. He just was. Something was crying. And then he heard it again. It wasn't a bird. It wasn't a squirrel. It was sadder, softer, almost like someone asking for help. He crouched near a patch of cracked soil and listened. The sound was coming from below. Noah's hands, still sticky from his morning snack, began to dig. The dirt was dry, packed, and crumbled easily. He scraped with his tiny fingers, pulling at the earth. Just a few inches down, he saw it. A glint, a flicker of an eye. He gasped. "Mommy!" No one answered. His mum was still inside, folding laundry, the back door open, but far away. Noah didn't wait. He kept digging, faster this time, dirt flying behind him. A snout appeared, then ears, then a paw that didn't move. The dog didn't bark. She didn't growl. She just looked at him. Terrified, silent. "Hi," Noah whispered. "You okay?" The German Shepherd couldn't answer. Her fur was matted with dirt, dried blood near her ear. Her chest rose and fell in short, shallow gasps. But it was her belly that stopped Noah cold. It was big, round, like the balloon his mum gave him last week for his birthday. The dog was pregnant. Noah blinked. "You got babies in there." The dog closed her eyes. Her body trembled. He stood up and screamed, "Mummy!" Mia came running, her heart leaping into her throat when she saw her son kneeling over something. "Noah, what are you—" She froze. "Oh my God," Noah pointed. "She's stuck. We need to help her." Mia dropped to her knees. Her hands trembled as she brushed dirt off the dog's face. Who would do this?" She checked. For breathing, weak, but still there. "We need to get her out," she said, already reaching for her phone. "Hang on, girl, hang on." The dispatcher answered, and Mia's voice cracked. "There's a dog buried. Yes, buried alive. And she's pregnant. Please hurry." Noah touched the dog's ear gently. "Don't worry. They're coming." Minutes felt like hours. The sunflowers swayed above them, silent witnesses. Mia dug more with her bare hands, trying to free the dog's legs. She was buried in a shallow grave, like someone had wanted her almost dead, but not quite. When the rescue van pulled up, the medics didn't waste time. One of them gasped when he saw the scene. "We need a stretcher, now!" They slid a soft cloth under the dog and lifted her gently. She didn't cry. She didn't fight. She just laid there, broken and still. "Will she be okay?" Noah asked. "We'll do everything we can, buddy," the rescuer said. The back doors slammed shut. The van roared away. Mia looked at her son. His cheeks were streaked with dirt and tears. "You did something incredible today," she said, hugging him tight. Noah sniffed. "She was crying, Mommy. Nobody heard her but me." Mia nodded. "And you answered." At the animal hospital, the vet team moved fast. Oxygen, fluids, gentle hands checking her vitals. One of the nurses gasped. "She's in late-stage pregnancy." The head vet, Dr. Claire, nodded grimly. "She's been under trauma. We don't know how long she was down there." "Her name," one nurse whispered, "should be Hope." Hope didn't open her eyes, but she was still breathing. Later that night, Mia and Noah stood at the window of the recovery room. Hope lay still, hooked to machines. A tiny bandage covered her paw where the IV went in. "She's not moving," Noah said, his voice trembling. "She's resting. She's safe now." He pressed his forehead to the glass. I hope her babies are okay. The vet walked up beside them. She's very weak, Dr. Clare said softly. We're not sure she or the puppies will make it. Noah stared at the sleeping dog. But she made it this far, right? Dr. Clare paused, then smiled. Just a little. Yeah, she did. Back home, Noah wouldn't stop talking about her. I think she heard me, Mummy, when I talked to her. That's why she stayed alive. I think you might be right, Mia said, brushing his hair back. As he drifted off to sleep, he mumbled, Hope's gonna make it. I know she is. And in the animal hospital, under the hum of machines and the soft patter of distant rain, Hope's ear twitched, just once, but it was enough. She was still here, and she wasn't alone anymore. She's alive, Mummy! She's breathing! Noah's voice cracked with urgency as Mia skidded to a stop beside him. Her heart pounded in her chest as she dropped to her knees, eyes locking on the German Shepherd's barely moving body. Mia reached forward with trembling hands. Oh my God! Oh, baby girl, what happened to you? Hope's eyes fluttered open, slow and unsure. Her chest rose in quick, shallow breaths. Dirt clung to her fur, her paws twitching faintly. Noah was still digging with his small hands. She was crying. I heard her. I see, sweetie. You did the right thing. Mia fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking. She hit the emergency number. There's a dog. She's been buried. She's still breathing. She's pregnant. Please hurry. We're behind the house, near the field. Noah leaned down close to the dog. It's okay now. You're not alone. Hope didn't move much, but her eyes didn't leave his face. Mia gently brushed more dirt from Hope's body. You're okay, girl. We've got you. Minutes felt like forever. Noah stayed close, whispering, his small fingers stroking Hope's ear. I promise we won't let you go. She's so quiet, Mia whispered, fear heavy in her voice. She's trying so hard to hold on, a voice crackled from the phone. Stay with her. Help is on the way. Mia glanced at her son. You're a brave boy, Noah. Noah didn't look away from Hope. She was calling me. I heard her. Mia choked back tears. You saved her, honey. A siren echoed faintly, closer. Then it stopped. Over here, Mia shouted, standing and waving her arms as the animal rescue team ran up the field. A young rescuer knelt fast, checking Hope's breathing. Still shallow, but she's alive. Let's get her out carefully. They worked fast, gently lifting Hope, cradling her body, wrapping her in soft blankets. One rescuer glanced at Mia. She's very weak, but she's got a fighting chance. Noah followed them, but Mia held him back. Let them help her, sweetheart. She needs me, he said. We'll follow them, I promise. As they placed Hope into the van, Noah shouted, Don't let her be alone. One of the rescuers turned back. We won't, kiddo. She's safe now. Mia and Noah jumped into their car and followed the van, neither speaking much. The ride felt endless. At the animal hospital, the team rushed Hope inside. Machines beeped. Vets moved quickly. Oxygen, IVs, monitors. Mia held Noah's hand. She's in good hands now. Behind the glass, Dr. Clare checked Hope's belly and frowned. She's carrying at least 6 pups. We don't know how long she's been buried. A nurse gasped softly. How is she still alive? She wanted to be, Dr. Clare replied. And someone found her just in time. Mia looked down at her son. That someone was you. Noah pressed his forehead to the glass. She looked at me like she knew me. Hope lay still, her breathing steadier now but shallow. Her ears didn't twitch, her tail didn't move. She's tired, the nurse whispered. So tired. Later, the vet returned. We've stabilized her thought. Now she needs rest. We'll monitor the pups closely. Mia asked, Can we see her? Dr. Clare nodded. Just for a minute. Inside the room, Hope lay on soft bedding. Machines quietly beeped around her. Her eyes were half closed. Noah tiptoed to her side and knelt. "Hi again," he whispered. "I told you we'd stay." He reached out and gently placed his hand on her paw. Hope didn't flinch. "See?" Mia said softly. "She remembers." Noah smiled faintly. "I'm going to name you Hope, because that's what you are." Hope's eyes blinked slowly. "She's listening," Mia whispered. Dr. Claire watched from the doorway. "Keep talking. She needs voices she can trust." Noah kept speaking, quietly and softly. "You're not going to be buried again. You're going to be warm and loved. And your babies too." Hope gave the faintest sigh. That night, as Mia tucked Noah into bed, he asked, "Will she still be alive tomorrow?" Mia paused. "She's fighting. That's all we can hope for." Noah hugged his blanket. "I think she's strong. She is, just like you." And miles away, under the dim light of the vet's office, Hope lay still, but no longer alone. Machines beeped steadily. Hope lay on the table, wrapped in blankets, her body barely moving. The vet checked her pulse again, eyes tight with worry. "She's pregnant and barely hanging on," Dr. Claire said softly. Mia squeezed Noah's hand. He looked up at her, his eyes red. "But the puppies, will they be okay?" Dr. Claire didn't answer right away. Her voice was low. "We're going to try everything, but it's going to be hour by hour." Hope didn't move. Her eyes were open now, but she wasn't really looking at anything. Just breathing. "She's scared," Noah whispered. "She doesn't know where she is." A nurse gently placed a warm pad under her. Another started an IV. The team worked in silence, moving carefully, trying not to startle her. Mia stroked Noah's hair. "You gave her a chance." "She gave me a look like she didn't want to die," he replied. Hope's body shook for a moment, her muscles twitching. One of the nurses stepped back. "That's trauma. Could be shock. Could be pain. We can't sedate her yet," Dr. Claire said. "Too risky for the pups." Noah stepped closer to the glass. "What's her name?" Dr. Claire looked at him. "She doesn't have one, not yet." "Can I pick it?" Mia nodded. "Of course." Noah thought for a moment. "Hope. Her name should be Hope." Dr. Claire smiled gently. "Hope. That's fitting." For hours, the team worked non-stop. They cleaned her wounds, stitched up a deep cut near her back leg, and checked the puppies through a portable ultrasound. The screen showed small movements. "They're alive," the nurse said. "All of them." Noah's eyes widened. "They're still in there, moving." "Barely," Dr. Claire said. "They need her strong. And she's running on empty." Hope let out a weak whimper. Her tail moved just a little. "She heard you," Mia whispered. Noah leaned in close to the glass. "It's okay, Hope. You're safe now." Inside the room, Hope's breathing slowed. Steady, but weak. "She's fighting," Dr. Claire said. "She hasn't given up." Later that evening, Mia brought Noah a sandwich from the hospital cafeteria. He didn't touch it. "She's so still." "She's resting," Mia said. "Her body's trying to heal," he whispered. "She was under the ground, Mommy. She didn't even bark. She just waited." Mia didn't answer. Her throat was too tight. The hospital staff dimmed the lights in the room, placed a blanket gently over Hope, and left the machines beeping quietly. Dr. Claire came back. "You should take Noah home. She'll need a few days of monitoring." "No," Noah said quickly. "She needs us." "We'll be here first thing in the morning," Mia said. "She'll still be here." Noah stared at Hope one last time. "Don't go anywhere, please." That night, at home, he couldn't sleep. He sat up in bed, holding a crayon drawing he made. It was a picture of Hope, standing tall, her 6 puppies around her. He folded it and placed it in his backpack. She has to see this, he whispered. Back at the hospital, Dr. Claire stayed late. She sat next to Hope, sipping cold coffee, watching her chest rise and fall. "You've got people who care now," she said softly. "You're not buried anymore." Hope blinked once. Her body twitched again, but she was still breathing. She wasn't alone, not anymore. Hope didn't move, not when the nurse walked in, not when the food tray was placed gently beside her. She just stared ahead, blinking slowly. Her body trembled now and then, as if memories were still crawling beneath her skin. The bowl of soft food stayed untouched. Even water was ignored. The vet team kept checking in, whispering updates, adjusting wires and monitors, but Hope barely noticed. Dr. Claire stood by the window, arms crossed. She's physically stable, but emotionally she's shut down. "She doesn't trust us," the nurse said. "Would you?" Dr. Claire replied quietly. That evening, Mia returned with Noah. He had barely slept the night before. He rushed to the glass, his hand pressed against it. "She's not eating," he said. Mia nodded. "She's scared." "She was brave in the dirt," Noah whispered. "Why is she scared now?" Dr. Claire knelt beside him. "Because pain doesn't leave fast. Sometimes it hides. I want to talk to her." "Just for a moment, quietly," she said. They stepped inside. The room was dim, quiet, warm. Machines beeped gently. Hope didn't turn her head. She just lay there, eyes distant, body stiff. Noah walked slowly toward her. He didn't say anything at first. He sat cross-legged on the floor and waited. His backpack was beside him. "I brought you something," he finally whispered. He reached into the bag and pulled out his folded crayon drawing. He slid it near her blanket. "It's you. And your puppies. They're not born yet, but I drew them anyway." Hope's ear flicked. "I know you're scared, but you're not buried anymore. You're not alone." Mia stood near the doorway, her hand over her mouth. Dr. Claire watched silently from outside the glass. Noah scooted a little closer. "I don't want to scare you. I just want you to know I'm here." Slowly, carefully, he reached forward and touched her paw. She flinched hard, her whole body tensing, but she didn't pull away. Noah froze. "It's okay," he whispered. "I won't hurt you." Hope didn't move again, but her eyes shifted, just barely, toward the little boy sitting beside her. Dr. Claire leaned closer to the glass. "She remembers," Mia whispered. "You think she knows him?" "I think she remembers what kindness felt like." And he gave her that. Noah stayed there for almost half an hour. He talked softly, told her about his stuffed animals, his favorite cereal, even how scared he was when he saw her in the dirt. "You looked like you were sleeping, but your eyes were yelling." Hope blinked slowly, still not moving, but her tail gave a faint twitch. The nurse brought in a smaller bowl of food and placed it a little closer. "She won't eat," Mia said softly. The nurse replied, "Let's just leave it." Noah looked at Hope. "You should try, even just a lick." Hope didn't move. Dr. Claire came in gently. "Time to go home for now." Noah stood up. "Will she be alone?" "She'll be watched all night. I promise." Before leaving, Noah whispered, "Don't forget, you're not in the dark anymore. There's light now." That night, the camera inside Hope's room caught something small. Around midnight, Hope lifted her head. She sniffed the air, then slowly, shakily, pushed her front legs forward and dragged her body an inch closer to the food bowl. One lick, then another. By morning, the bowl was half empty. "She ate," the nurse said, surprised. Dr. Claire smiled. "She's not giving up." Hope lay still again, but her body wasn't trembling as much. Outside the door, taped to the glass, was Noah's crayon drawing. And maybe, Just maybe. That's what made her fight through the night. The video spread like fire. It showed grainy footage from a hidden trail camera, bare trees, dry dirt, and then a man, tall, hood up, dragging something heavy across the field. It was Hope. She wasn't fighting. She was too weak to resist. He stopped near a patch of land, looked around, then started digging with a shovel. No sound, no voice, just the image of a man burying a breathing dog, a pregnant dog, and walking away. Mia watched it once. That was enough. She covered her mouth and whispered, "What kind of person does this?" Noah was in the other room, coloring again. He didn't know yet. Dr. Claire stood behind Mia at the clinic. Someone had to set that camera up. Someone wanted proof. Hope was resting in the next room, still quiet, still weak. But she was, eating now, a little at a time. The video hit social media by morning. It was everywhere. Shared, reposted, slowed down, zoomed in. "He left her alive," one comment said. "He meant for her to suffer," said another. "Find him, now." Reporters showed up outside the animal hospital. Dr. Claire stepped out once to ask for peace. "She needs rest," she said. "Let her heal." But inside, tension grew. Noah came to visit later that day. He could feel it in the room, the way the nurses whispered, how Mia stared at her phone. Something had changed. "What's going on?" he asked. Mia knelt down. A video of what happened to Hope was found. Someone recorded it. He didn't say anything. "She was hurt badly, sweetie. It's hard to watch." Noah's eyes were wide. "Can I see it?" Mia shook her head. "Not right now. You already know what matters. She survived." He turned to the glass and looked at Hope. "That means someone saw and left her there." "That's what makes it worse," Mia whispered. Back in the vet room, Hope stirred in her sleep. Her legs twitched, her nose sniffing. She whimpered, a soft, broken sound. "She dreams about it," a nurse said. "Every night." The sheriff's office confirmed the footage was real. They released a statement. "We are asking for public help in identifying the man in this video." Dr. Claire met with them privately. "Do you think he'll come back? Check if she's alive?" The sheriff nodded slowly. "People like that. They like control. He might." Later that evening, Noah returned again, this time with a folded towel and one of his stuffed toys, a small lion. "It's for her, so she's not scared when she sleeps." Mia watched as he entered quietly and placed the toy near her paw. Hope opened her eyes. "She's awake," Noah whispered. "Hi, Hope." Hope didn't move much, but her head turned slightly toward him. "She knows he saved her," Dr. Claire said. Back online, people were furious. A local animal shelter offered a reward. More footage was analyzed. Someone noticed a tattoo on the man's hand. A mark barely visible in one frame. "Could be enough," the sheriff said. But they didn't have a name. Not yet. Noah sat beside Hope, stroking her paw gently. "You didn't give up. That makes you the strongest dog ever." Mia stood behind him, silent. She thought about the field, the dirt, the darkness that had tried to take Hope, and the one man who thought no one would care. He was wrong. Hope had survived something evil. But now the whole town knew, and they weren't going to let it go. Hope whimpered in her sleep. It was soft, but sharp enough to pull the nurse's attention. Her body twitched, legs moving slightly, chest rising too fast. The monitor beeped faster than usual. "She's in distress again," the nurse muttered, grabbing her phone. Dr. Claire picked up right away. "Call Mia, bring the boy too. It might help." Within 20 minutes, Mia and Noah rushed in. Noah's hair was messy, his eyes sleepy. But the moment he saw Hope's curled-up body shaking, he ran straight to her. "Is she hurting?" he asked. Panicked, Dr. Claire nodded. "We're not sure, but she's not calm." Noah stepped closer. "Can I talk to her?" "Go ahead," Claire said. "Just be gentle." He knelt beside her and whispered, Hope. It's okay. I'm here. You're not buried anymore. You're safe. Hope's eyes blinked slowly. Her breathing slowed just a little. She hears you, Mia whispered. Noah placed his hand gently on her side. He felt her ribs move. Then, something shifted under his fingers. Not Hope's breath. Something else. He gasped. Mum, she moved! The baby moved! Mia's eyes widened. What? Her belly kicked. I felt it. Dr. Claire moved quickly, placing the stethoscope down, pressing softly. Then they all saw it. A tiny bulge under Hope's fur. Just for a second. She's still carrying them, Claire said softly. And they're alive. Hope let out a deep sigh. Her tail thumped once against the blanket. She knows, Noah whispered. She knows her babies are still with her. Everyone stood frozen for a second, watching her. That tail movement, small as it was, felt like a miracle. I thought she gave up, Mia said. She didn't, Claire replied. She's been holding on for them. Hope looked up at Noah, eyes clearer than before. Her pain was still there, but so was something else. Trust. Noah smiled. You're a good mom, Hope. The room was quiet, filled with something soft and strong. The puppies were still fighting, because their mother hadn't stopped. Not yet. Not ever. Hope had just started sleeping through the night. Her breathing was steadier. The trembles had faded. The vet staff even noticed a few soft tail wags when Noah arrived. But that calm didn't last long. It started around midnight. The security camera outside the animal clinic picked up motion. A figure moved past the front door. Slowly. Then again, near the side of the building. Hood up. Face turned away from the lights. Dr. Claire saw the alert first on her phone. She replayed the footage 3 times before calling Mia. Mia, someone's outside. He keeps walking around the building. Mia didn't hesitate. He's watching her. Police were called. They arrived 10 minutes later, searched the lot, the bushes, the alley. No one was there. He vanished, the officer said. No prints, nothing disturbed. But the camera didn't lie. The figure had been real. The next morning, Hope was different, restless, jumpy. Every knock, every beep, every footstep made her flinch. She knows, Claire said quietly. She can feel him. Noah showed up later that day with a new blanket. He noticed right away. Why's she shaking again? Mia knelt down. Something scared her last night. Is he back? Noah asked. Claire didn't want to scare him, but she didn't lie. We think someone came near the building. Noah's voice cracked. He's trying to hurt her again. We don't know yet. Hope didn't eat that morning. Her water bowl stayed full. She didn't lift her head when Noah placed the blanket near her side. She looks like she's back in that hole again, Mia whispered. Claire nodded. Her body's here, but her mind's stuck. Police reviewed the footage again. The man didn't try to enter. He just watched, as if waiting. Later that night, Dr. Claire decided to stay late. She sat near Hope, reading files, sipping tea, keeping the lights low. Hope didn't sleep. She watched the door. At 2:03 a.m., the motion alarm went off again. Claire jumped up, checked the monitor. There he was, same figure, walking the edge of the parking lot, slow and steady. She called the police. This time, they came faster. Still, no one was caught. But this time, he left something behind. A torn glove near the dumpster. We're testing it for prints, the officer said. But if he's smart, it'll come up clean. Back inside, Claire returned to Hope's room. He was close, girl. But we're closer. Hope stared at her. For a second, her ears twitched forward. In the morning, Noah came running in. Did he come back? Mia held him close. Yes, but we're safe. I want to stay with her. Noah said. She doesn't want to be alone. Claire looked at Mia. It might actually help her. Just an hour. Noah sat on the floor, close but not touching. He pulled out a picture he drew. Hope sitting under the sun, with her puppies playing around her. "Look, Hope," he whispered. "This is the world waiting for you." Hope didn't flinch this time. She blinked slowly. Her breathing evened out. That day, she drank water again, ate half her food, let the nurse change her bandage without a sound. "She's still afraid," Mia said, "but she's not giving up." Later that evening, the sheriff returned. "We're working on a match. For the glove, there's also a partial boot print in the mud behind the clinic. It's enough to narrow it down." Claire asked, "Do you think he'll come back again?" The sheriff nodded. "If he thinks she's still alive? Yes." Mia's jaw tightened. "Then we'll be ready." The clinic added new cameras, extra locks, motion lights. An officer started patrolling the area. But inside, Hope was still healing, still breathing, still holding on. Because even though the shadow had returned, so had her will to live. The video of the man in the parking lot only made things louder. People wanted justice, but more than that, they wanted Hope to live. Hope's story had gone viral. It wasn't just the town anymore, it was everywhere. Headlines read, "Buried alive, pregnant dog saved by toddler," and people felt it, really felt it. Letters started coming in. Not a few, dozens, then hundreds. One envelope had crayon, drawings and the words, "Dear Hope, I'm 7, and I hope your babies are okay. I love you." Another said, "We're praying for you, Hope. You are not forgotten." Mia read some out loud to Noah. He sat next to Hope, showing her the pictures one by one. "Look, this one's from Lily in Canada," he said. "She drew you smiling." Hope stared at the paper, then blinked slowly. Her tail gave a tiny wag. Mia teared up. She knows she's loved. Donations began pouring in. Some were small, a few dollars. Some were big. One person paid to cover Hope's full medical bills. Claire looked at the clinic's mailbox one morning and just stood still. It was packed. "She's touched the world," she whispered. People came to the clinic gate, quietly leaving flowers, cards, and stuffed toys. No one shouted. No one tried to rush in. They just came and left love. Hope's room was filled with soft light and soft voices now. One day, a little girl in a pink coat stood outside the glass with her parents. She pressed a hand to the window and said, "You're my hero, Hope." Hope, weak and tired, lifted her head, just slightly, and looked right at her. The girl gasped. "She saw me." Dr. Claire nodded. "She sees all of you. She feels it." Noah started reading letters to her out loud every day. "Dear Hope, I hope your babies kick again today. Keep fighting. Love, Sarah." Hope wagged her tail twice. That was her new thing now. A little thump on the blanket. Just enough to say, "I'm here." Reporters asked for interviews, but Claire refused. Let the story speak for itself. This isn't about cameras. It's about healing. And still, the letters kept coming. One night, Mia sat next to Hope and held her paw gently. "You're not the same dog who came in that night. You were broken, buried, but now the whole world is lifting you up." Hope moved closer, inch by inch, until her head touched Mia's shoe. "She trusts you," Claire whispered from behind. Mia wiped her eyes. "I trust her too." That same night, Noah whispered something to Hope as she slept. "Even if you never run again, you already won." Outside, candles flickered in a small circle left by strangers. This town, this world, wasn't just crying for her anymore. It was standing with her. Things had just started to feel safe again. Hope was eating regularly. She even rolled on, her side one morning, belly up, letting Noah stroke the soft fur around her ribs. "She's happy," Noah whispered, smiling. "She's getting better." Then he walked in. It was just after noon. The clinic lobby was quiet. A tall man stepped inside, holding a folder. Dark jacket, clean jeans, calm face. Too calm. "I'm here for the dog," he said. The receptionist looked up. "Excuse me?" "The German Shepherd. Her name is Sadie. She's mine." The nurse behind the desk froze. "We weren't told anyone was coming. I didn't call. Didn't want her to wait any longer. She's my dog. Got out weeks ago." He handed her a piece of paper, a few photos, an old registration tag. Mia, who had just walked in with Noah, paused. She heard him. "She's not Sadie," Mia said firmly. "Her name is Hope." "That's what you named her," the man replied. "But I raised her." Claire was called from the back. She stepped into the lobby and glanced at the papers. "These look old." "They're still real," he said. "Check the tag number." Claire didn't argue. She nodded politely and motioned for the nurse to check. Then she pulled Mia aside. "Call the sheriff. Now." Back in the recovery room, Hope was awake, alert. Her ears were standing high. Noah sat by her side. "There's a weird man outside," he said. Hope didn't blink. Her body stiffened. The receptionist kept him talking. "Can you tell me what kind of food she eats?" "Meat scraps. Whatever I had," he said quickly. "And where was she lost?" "Backwoods, near the county line." Claire returned. "Sir, we're still checking the documents. Please give us a few minutes." He was getting irritated now. "Look, I drove hours to come here. That dog belongs to me." "She doesn't belong to anyone," Mia said sharply. "She was buried alive." The man didn't flinch. "People do dumb things." That was it, the way he said it. Cold, flat, like it meant nothing. Noah peeked through the hallway and saw the man. "Is that him?" he asked. Hope stood. Her legs were weak, but she stood. Her eyes locked on the man's shape, even from behind the glass. Then she did something she hadn't done before, she growled. It wasn't loud, but it was low, steady, and full of something deeper than fear. It was memory. "She remembers him," Claire said. "That growl, that's not fear. That's protection." The sheriff walked in seconds later. "Sir, I need to speak with you." Outside, the man sighed and turned. "This is ridiculous." They stepped out into the lot. Claire locked the door behind them. Hope collapsed back onto the blanket, shaking. Mia sat beside her. "It's okay now. He's gone." Noah reached for her paw. "You were brave." Hope licked his hand once, then curled back into herself. Outside, the officers found a different name on the man's ID than the one on the papers. Fake. He was taken in for questioning. Claire exhaled. "She saved herself today." Mia whispered. She remembered what he did, and she stood up. And Hope, fragile, tired but unbroken, closed her eyes again, still fighting, still protecting, still remembering. Hope hadn't moved much all day. Her breathing was slower. Her eyes stayed closed longer than usual. But the machine said her heart was steady. Then the alert sounded. Claire rushed in. She glanced at the monitor. Her voice dropped. "Her temperature just fell." Mia looked up. "What does that mean?" "She's going into labor." Noah stood frozen by the doorway, gripping a folded blanket. "Is she ready?" Claire didn't answer right away. She knelt beside Hope, placing a hand gently on her belly. "She's early." "Is that bad?" Mia asked. Claire's eyes didn't leave Hope. "She may not survive this." The room went quiet. Hope opened her eyes slowly. She looked at Claire, then Mia, then Noah. Noah stepped closer, placing the blanket beside her. "You can do this, Hope. I believe in you." Hope didn't wag her tail, but she didn't look away either. The vet team moved fast. Warm lights, clean, towels, gloves on, machines humming. Mia stood near Noah, both of them silent, watching, waiting. Claire whispered, "She's trying, but her body's weak." Hope winced. Her breathing grew louder. A low moan escaped her. "She's in pain," Noah said, stepping forward. Mia stopped him gently. "Let them work, sweetheart." Then, through the tense quiet, came a sound none of them expected. A small, sharp cry. The room froze. Claire leaned forward. Her hands moved quickly. Then she smiled. One puppy. Breathing. A nurse handed Claire a tiny bundle. Wet, squirming. Alive! Noah's eyes widened. "That's her baby," Claire nodded. "That's number one." Hope didn't move much. She was exhausted, but her eyes blinked once, then twice. "Stay with us, girl," Claire whispered. "You're not done." The second pup came 15 minutes later, then a third, each one smaller than the last. Each one a little louder. "She's doing it," Mia said. "She's really doing it." By the time the fourth puppy arrived, Hope's body was shaking. Claire looked at the team. "We need to help her now. She's too weak." They moved faster, gently helping the last two out, cleaning them, rubbing them warm. Every single pup, alive. 6 in total. 6 cries. 6 tiny signs of life. Noah sat down, eyes filled with tears. "You did it, Hope." Hope didn't lift her head, but her tail twitched once, a soft, slow thump on the blanket. Claire placed one of the puppies near her face. Hope's nose moved slightly. She sniffed, then gave the tiniest lick. "She knows," Claire whispered. "She knows they're hers." Hope's eyes closed again, her body sinking into the blanket. Mia looked scared. "Is she—" Claire held up a hand. "She's sleeping. She's alive, but she needs rest." Noah leaned close and whispered, "I knew you could do it." Outside the room, nurses cried quietly. The entire clinic had been holding its breath. Hope didn't just survive. She gave life. 6 tiny, crying, living miracles. And a mother who had every reason to give up, but didn't. They lay there, all 6 of them. Tiny, pink-bellied, wiggling across the blanket. One by one, they found their way to their mother. Some squealed, some crawled in circles, and some nestled in, as if they already knew where they belonged. Hope was barely awake. Her eyes opened for a second, just long enough to glance at her babies. Then she closed them again and let her body rest. Claire wiped her face with her sleeve. "They're all alive, all 6. The nurse beside her sniffled. "I don't know how she did it." Mia was sitting on the floor now, her hand over her mouth, eyes full of tears. She looked at Noah, who hadn't blinked once. "She did it, Mommy," he whispered. "She's a hero." Mia nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Yes, she is." Claire moved the puppies closer to Hope's belly. Their tiny mouths searched for warmth and food, squeaking every few seconds. One of them rolled over onto its back, paws kicking at the air. Noah giggled softly. "That one's funny." He looked at Hope. "Can she see them?" "She knows they're there," Claire said, "even if she's too tired to move." Hope breathed deep and slow. Her body was drained, but her heart, that was still going strong. Outside the room, a few staff members stood by the window, watching in silence. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. This was something they wouldn't forget. She brought life into the world, Claire whispered, after nearly being buried in it. One of the nurses said, "Should we name them?" Claire smiled. "Let's wait for Hope to wake up, but they'll need names, yes." Mia brushed a blanket over Noah's shoulders. "You okay, sweetheart?" "I feel happy," he said, "but I don't know why I'm crying." Mia hugged him. "Because you love her." Hope stirred. Her tail tapped twice. One of the puppies squeaked and pressed closer. Claire leaned in, checking her vitals again. "She's stable." The puppies began to nurse, slow, clumsy movements. A miracle in motion. "She didn't just survive," Mia said softly. "She became a mother." Noah reached out, holding the drawing he'd kept in his backpack for days. The one with Hope and 6 puppies under the sun. He taped it gently to the glass. I told her this would happen. Claire smiled. You believed before anyone else did. The light in the room was soft, peaceful, warm. Hope wasn't in a cage. She wasn't in a hole. She was surrounded by life. She was surrounded by love, and after everything she'd endured, she had finally brought her babies into the world, not into darkness, but into light. 2 days after the puppies were born, something didn't feel right. Hope was alert. She could move her head. Her eyes followed Noah, and her tail still gave a soft thump when she saw him, but her back legs didn't move, not once. Claire ran tests, quiet, careful ones. She pressed lightly along Hope's spine, tapped her feet, watched for a twitch. Anything. There was nothing. Later that afternoon, Claire pulled Mia aside. Her voice was low. It's nerve damage, maybe from the trauma, maybe from how long she was buried. Mia's face dropped. So, she can't walk? Claire hesitated. She may never walk again. Noah heard it. He stood in the doorway, his arms crossed. She'll walk. Claire looked at him gently. We'll do everything we can. But sometimes the body doesn't heal all the way. Noah walked over to Hope and knelt beside her. You don't have to do it alone. Hope tried to shift her. Wait. Her front paws pushed forward, but her back legs dragged uselessly behind her. She whimpered, confused. Mia knelt too. You're still strong, Hope. You brought 6 lives into the world. That's stronger than anything. That night, Noah sat in the kitchen with his dad. She needs help, he said. Like real help, like wheels. His dad raised an eyebrow. Wheels? Yeah. Like a chair with wheels, but for dogs. His dad smiled. Let's figure something out. Together they pulled cardboard from boxes, cut out shapes, taped the edges, added bottle caps for wheels. It was clunky and crooked, but it was made with love. The next morning, Noah walked into the clinic with his invention in his hands. It's for Hope, he said, so she can still move. Claire bent down to look. You made this yourself. With Dad. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Hope lifted her head when she saw him. Her eyes followed the wheels. Her ears perked up, just a little. We're not giving up, Noah whispered. You're still our hero. With help, Claire gently lifted Hope and eased her into the makeshift wheelchair. It wasn't easy. It wobbled. She slipped once, but they adjusted, tightened it. Okay, girl, Mia whispered. Let's see. Hope stood on her front paws. The wheels rolled slowly behind her. Everyone held their breath. Hope took one step, then another. Noah clapped. She's doing it. Hope didn't run. She didn't jump. But she moved. And that was everything. She's not broken, Claire said. She's adapting. And Hope? She didn't look scared anymore, because the boy who found her in the dirt was still walking right beside her. Hope had started to trust her wheels. She wasn't fast, but she was moving. Every morning Noah would walk beside her as she rolled across the hallway of the clinic, her head held a little higher than the day before. She looks proud, Mia said, smiling. She is, Noah grinned. She knows she's not stuck anymore. That afternoon, everything changed. The clinic phone rang. Claire picked up like usual, but this call wasn't usual. The voice on the other end was shaking. I saw the video online, the woman said. The dog. I know who did it. Claire paused. Who are you? I want to stay anonymous, but I know him. He's my ex. Claire turned away from the front desk and whispered, Go on. He trains dogs out in the country. Breeds. Them. But when they get pregnant, he doesn't sell them. He gets rid of them. Claire's voice went cold. You're saying he buries them? I've seen him do it, the woman cried. I didn't say anything before, but after seeing her picture, I knew it was one of his. Claire asked, Where is this place? She gave an address. An old farm just past the edge of town. Claire wrote it down, her hands trembling. After the call, she looked at Mia. We need to call the sheriff. Now. That evening, 2 police cruisers drove to the property. They didn't knock. They had a warrant. They didn't need to. What they found stopped them cold. Old kennels, some empty, some broken, chains on posts, a shallow pit behind a barn, in a dark shed. They found 4 dogs. 2 were barely alive. 1 was missing an ear. 1 barked wildly at the light. The 4th lay still in the corner. Gone. When the man walked out of the barn, wiping his hands, the sheriff was already there. You're under arrest. The man didn't say a word. He didn't ask why. He just stared. We know about Hope, the sheriff said. That name, that one name made him flinch. Back at the clinic, Claire got the call. They got him, she said. He's in custody. Noah looked up. The man who hurt Hope. Mia nodded. They arrested him. Hope was resting when they told her, but something strange happened. When Noah whispered, "He's gone. Now," Hope let out a soft breath, almost like a sigh of relief. Later that night, Mia stood beside Claire outside the exam room. You think she knows? She knows something's changed, Claire said. The world feels safer. Hope didn't bark. She didn't growl, but her eyes closed deeper than before, and for the first time since she was pulled from that grave, she finally slept in peace. The courtroom was silent, heavy with tension. A single sound echoed, the shuffle of feet on the cold, polished floor. Hope, the brave German shepherd, sat in the witness box, her fur slightly ruffled, but her eyes sharp and full of wisdom. She was the only one in the room who had witnessed the horror that had begun the moment her life had been stolen from her. The man, the one responsible for everything she had endured, was sitting just a few feet away. He didn't dare to look at her. He knew that she remembered. He knew that she had never forgotten. Her piercing gaze was enough to send a chill down his spine, even though he refused to acknowledge it. But Hope wasn't about to let him off that easily. As he passed by her, she let out a low, controlled growl. The sound vibrated through the room, sharp and unmistakable. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to grab everyone's attention. The jury, who had been eyeing the proceedings with silent judgment, turned their heads as one. Even the prosecutor's gaze shifted toward her, his eyes narrowing as if he understood the message behind the growl. The man stiffened but remained silent. He stared straight ahead, refusing to meet Hope's gaze. The prosecutor, a tall man in a well-fitted suit, rose from his seat with confidence. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what you're about to see is not just cruelty. It is a violation of every living being's right to life and dignity. He nodded toward the screen behind him. A projector clicked, and the footage rolled. The courtroom fell even quieter if possible, as the screen lit up with images from that dreadful day. Hope was buried, struggling, her body wrapped in layers of dirt, suffocating but still alive. The footage showed her trembling, her heart racing. The camera zoomed in on her trembling body as she fought for air, for survival, for the life that had been taken from her without a second thought. She was alone, or so it seemed. But then her belly, swollen with the weight of new life, shifted. The screen zoomed in on the faint movement beneath her fur. Hope had been pregnant. She had been trapped, alone, and terrified. But still, somehow, her body had held on. Days later, she gave birth, right there in the dirt. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as the tiny, helpless pups were born, covered in dirt, gasping for life, just like their mother. The prosecutor's voice was steady but full of emotion. He buried her alive. She gave birth days later. That is cruelty beyond measure. It's not just inhuman. It's a tragedy that no living creature should ever face. Yet Hope survived. And now, it's time for her to have her day in court. Hope's growl from earlier echoed again in the room, louder this time, more deliberate. She wasn't just a victim of cruelty anymore. She had become a symbol of resilience, of hope that no matter how dark the world might seem, life found a way. Her soft growl was a declaration. She would be heard. She had a voice now. As the footage ended, the jury exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and anger. The man, still sitting motionless, shifted uncomfortably in his chair, but his eyes remained on the floor, refusing to meet the gaze of those around him. The judge, a woman with kind but firm eyes, turned toward the defendant. "What you did was unforgivable," she said, her voice calm but powerful. "You chose to take away her life. You chose to strip away the innocence of a living being who had done nothing to deserve this fate." Hope's eyes locked onto the man, then, unblinking. She was done with silence, done with being ignored. Her growl wasn't just a warning, it was her statement. Justice was coming, and nothing would silence her now. The prosecutor turned back to the jury, his voice strong and full of conviction. "Hope's story is one of strength, one of survival, and one of justice. We ask that you hold this man accountable for his actions, for everything he took from her, and everything he took from those helpless puppies she brought into this world." Hope, with her sharp eyes, continued to sit tall, unwavering. Her job wasn't finished. She had fought through the darkness, through the pain, and now, in this very courtroom, she would make sure that everyone knew her story. No longer just a victim, Hope was a symbol of all the animals who had been silenced, buried, or forgotten. But no more. The courtroom remained still as Hope's soft growl echoed in the air once more, a haunting reminder of the past and the promise of justice to come. Hope lay on the mat, her body still weak but determined. The room around her was quiet, save for the soft hum of the air conditioner and the gentle rustle of the therapist's hands as they guided her legs. The floor was covered in soft padding, offering a safe place for her to try again. Mia and Noah stood nearby, their eyes full of hope, watching her every movement with bated breath. Noah knelt next to Hope, his voice gentle but filled with encouragement. "Come on, Hope, you can do it. Just a little more." He gave her a small pat on her head, and she blinked up at him. Her eyes were soft, filled with a silent plea to get back to herself, to run and jump again like she used to. Hope twitched her foot. Just the smallest of movements, but it was enough. Mia gasped. "Did you see that?" she whispered, her heart racing with hope. "She moved. She's trying." Noah smiled widely, his eyes lighting up. "You did it. You did it, Hope." He cheered, his voice loud and full of excitement. His hands were shaking as he reached for her, rubbing her back. "You're trying. You're really trying." Hope's tail, once still and lifeless, gave the smallest wiggle. Then, with a great effort, she wobbled. Her body shivered, her legs shaking beneath her, but she was pushing herself. She tried to lift herself up, but her muscles, still too weak, couldn't hold her. She collapsed onto the soft mat with a soft thud. Mia's heart dropped as she rushed to her side. "It's okay, girl, don't worry," she said softly, her voice breaking. But Noah wasn't discouraged. Instead, he clapped his hands, a broad smile spreading across his face. "That's it, Hope. You're doing it. You're trying. You're not giving up," he exclaimed. Hope, exhausted but resolute, lifted her head. Her breath was heavy, but she looked at Noah, then at Mia, her eyes shining with something new, a spark of determination. Noah took a step back and extended his hand to her. "Come on, Hope. Just one more time." His voice was full of love, full of belief in her strength. "You're a fighter." Hope's body trembled as she slowly, carefully, placed one foot forward. The room held its breath as she balanced herself on that shaky leg. And then, in the quiet that followed, something incredible happened. Hope barked. It was weak, a soft, tiny bark. But it was a bark. It was the first sound she had made since the accident. Mia's eyes widened, her breath catching in her throat. "Did you hear that?" she gasped. Hope's tail wiggled, still weak but determined. She looked up at Noah and Mia, her eyes glowing, with recognition. She was telling them that she wasn't giving up. Mia bent down to her level and ran her hand over Hope's fur, tears gathering in her eyes. "You're coming back," she whispered. "You're healing, Hope. We knew you would." Noah laughed, his voice cracking with emotion. "She's coming back. She's going to make it." Hope lifted her head, still panting but proud. She licked Noah's face, her tongue warm and gentle against his skin. "You did it, girl," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You really did it." Hope's gaze softened as she looked between the two of them, her heart swelling with love and gratitude. She may not have been able to run yet, but this small victory, this first step, this first bark, meant more than anything. And as she lay there, surrounded by the people who loved her most, Hope knew something deep inside. She wasn't alone in this fight. She had them, and they had her. Together, they would keep fighting. And with every step, every wiggle, she would keep moving forward. Mia reached out and wiped away a tear from her cheek, her voice full of hope and promise. "She's going to walk again, Noah. I just know it." Hope gave another soft bark, as if to say, "I'm not done yet." The days passed in a blur of growth and healing. Hope had become stronger, and so had her puppies. They were no longer the small, fragile creatures that had been born in the dirt, struggling to survive. Now, their eyes sparkled with life, and their tiny bodies had started to move with a sense of purpose. They wobbled as they learned to walk, their paws tapping gently against the floor, their tails wagging as they discovered the world around them. Noah watched them with a soft smile, his heart swelling with pride. "Look at them," he said, his voice full of wonder. "They're growing so fast." Mia nodded, kneeling beside the puppies as they played together. "It's a miracle, isn't it?" she whispered, watching the little ones chase after each other, tumbling over one another in clumsy, joyful abandon. Noah crouched down, his fingers gently brushing the fur of each puppy. "I think it's time they all had names," he said, his eyes thoughtful. "They deserve names, something that gives them a place in this world." Mia agreed, her heart full of love for the little ones who had been through so much already. "What will we call them?" Noah smiled. "I've been thinking about it. Each one of them has shown something special." He reached out and touched the first puppy, a brave little one who always seemed to be the first to charge forward. "This one's brave," Noah said, his voice firm and proud. Then he moved to the next, a puppy with the most joyful eyes, always wagging its tail and bringing light into every room. "This one's Joy," he added, with a grin. Mia looked on as Noah continued naming the puppies, each name filled with meaning, each one a reflection of their spirit. "Peanut," Noah said as he touched a tiny, scrappy puppy who had always been the smallest but had the biggest heart. He moved to the next one, a puppy who always seemed to be sneaking off into corners, his dark eyes always full of mystery. "Shadow," he whispered, his smile turning playful. Then came a puppy who had been the last to learn to walk, but when he did, he never stopped. "Miracle," Noah said softly, his voice full of warmth. Mia leaned in and gave Miracle a soft kiss on the forehead. "You are a miracle." Finally, there was the last puppy, the one who seemed to shine no matter where she went, always bringing a spark of light wherever she crawled. "Sunshine," Noah said with a gentle laugh. Each name was a promise that they would be loved, that they would have a place in the world, that no matter what their beginning had been, they would have a future filled with joy and warmth. Mia looked down at the puppies, her heart full. "They've each got a home," she promised softly. We'll make sure they all have a place. Noah turned to her, his eyes shining with pride. Each one of them deserves it. They've all earned it. But then there was Miracle, the last puppy, to be named. As the puppies frolicked around, playing and tumbling over one another, Miracle stayed close to Hope. She followed her mother's every move, her eyes never leaving Hope's side. Mia watched them for a moment, her heart aching with love. "What about Miracle?" she asked softly. "Will she go to a home too?" Noah glanced at the two of them, Hope and Miracle, and then shook his head. "No," he said, his voice soft but firm. "They've been through too much together. They belong together." Mia smiled, understanding. "You're right. They need each other." Hope, who had been resting quietly, turned her head to look at Miracle, who was curled up beside her. The little puppy nuzzled against her mother, her body still small and fragile, but her spirit strong. They had been through so much. The darkness, the struggle, the fight for life. And now, they were together. No one could separate them. Mia reached down and gently stroked Miracle's back. "You'll stay with her, won't you?" she whispered. "You two are meant to be together." Noah placed his hand on Hope's back, his touch gentle and reassuring. "They're a team," he said, his voice full of certainty. "A family, and they'll stay that way." The promise was made. 6 puppies, each with a future filled with love, care, and home. But Miracle and Hope, they would remain together, side by side, forever. Their bond was unbreakable, and nothing would ever change that. Noah and Mia watched as the puppies played together, the sound of their tiny paws filling the room. The future was uncertain, but one thing was for sure. The love they had for these puppies, especially for Hope and Miracle, would always remain. 6 names, 1 promise, Noah said softly, a smile tugging at his lips. "We'll always be here for them." It was a perfect afternoon in the garden. The sun was shining brightly, casting a warm glow over the flowers and the soft grass. The air smelled sweet with the scent of blooming roses, and the gentle breeze ruffled the leaves of the trees. Mia and Noah sat side by side on the wooden bench, watching the puppies chase each other around the yard. Their laughter filled the air, blending with the soft rustling of the trees. Hope lay in the sun, her body still, but her eyes alert. She watched as her puppies played, her tail twitching every now and then. She was content, but something inside her stirred, something that had been dormant for so long. A feeling of strength, of energy, of life. It had been slowly building within her. Then, without warning, Hope stood up. Mia turned her head, surprised to see her moving. "Hope?" she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Hope took a step forward, then another. Her legs were still a little wobbly, but there was no hesitation in her movement. She looked at Noah, who was standing nearby, his eyes wide in disbelief. Without a sound, Hope took off. She ran, not away, but toward Noah. It was sudden, the way she moved. For a moment, it seemed like the world stopped. The grass beneath her paws seemed to disappear as she ran, her body strong and filled with purpose. Her tail was wagging, her eyes bright and full of life. Noah's breath caught in his throat as Hope sprinted toward him. He took a step back, his heart pounding in his chest. "Hope, wait!" he called, but it wasn't fear in his voice. It was awe. Hope wobbled as she ran, her legs shaking with the effort, but she didn't stop. She reached Noah, jumping up with all the strength she could muster. Her front paws landed on his chest, and she gave a joyful bark, a bark that echoed through the garden. "She's back!" Mia cried, her hands flying to her mouth as tears sprang to her eyes. Noah laughed, his face breaking into a smile as he bent down to scoop Hope into his arms. "You did it, girl," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're back. You're really back." Hope licked his face, her tail wagging furiously. She barked again, her eyes sparkling with joy. She was alive, she was whole. The journey that had begun in a shallow grave, the struggle for survival, the pain and the fear. It all seemed so far away now. Mia wiped the tears from her eyes, her heart full. "I can't believe it," she whispered, shaking her head in disbelief. "From a shallow grave to this, she's truly come back to life." Noah hugged Hope tightly, his heart overflowing with gratitude. "You're not just back," he said softly. "You're stronger than ever." Hope rested her head against his shoulder, her body still trembling from the effort. But the joy in her eyes told them everything. She had fought for her life. She had struggled through the darkness, through the pain. And now she was here, with them. She had come back, not just physically, but in spirit. The puppies, who had been playing nearby, stopped and watched their mother with wide eyes. They had seen the struggle too. They had seen the pain. But now they saw their mother running, jumping, and barking with happiness. And in that moment, they understood. They understood that they were part of something greater. They too had survived. They too had been given a chance at life. Noah set Hope down gently, still in awe of what had just happened. He looked at Mia, his eyes filled with wonder. "I never thought I'd see this day," he said, his voice filled with amazement. I thought we'd lost her." Mia smiled, her heart full of love. "She's stronger than we ever knew. She's our miracle." Hope turned to the puppies, her body still a little wobbly, but her spirit unbroken. She barked happily, calling them over to join her. The puppies rushed toward her, their little tails wagging, and for a moment, they all stood together, a family stronger than ever. Noah knelt down, his eyes misty with emotion as he watched Hope and her puppies. "Look at them, Mia. Look at what they've overcome. Look at what they've become." Mia nodded, tears streaming down her face as she reached out to hold his hand. "From a shallow grave to this, Hope has truly come back to life, and so have they. All of them." Hope turned back to Noah, her eyes full of love and gratitude. She had come back, not just for herself, but for all of them. And in that moment, as she stood with her family, she knew that this was just the beginning. There was more life ahead, more adventures to come, and no matter what the future held, they would face it together. Noah, Mia, and the puppies stood together, watching Hope as she ran again, this time stronger and faster, full of life and joy. The world was hers again, and nothing could ever take that away. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the fields of sunflowers. Their vibrant yellow heads swayed gently in the breeze, reaching toward the warm light as if they too were celebrating life. The landscape was peaceful, serene, a stark contrast to what it had once been. 1 year ago, this very field had been the scene of pain and suffering, the place where Hope had fought for her life. But today, the sunflowers stood tall and proud, much like the dog walking beside Noah. Noah held Hope's leash in his hand, his grip strong but gentle. Hope walked beside him, her tail swaying happily. She was no longer the fragile dog who had been pulled from a shallow grave. She was strong, her muscles rippling under her sleek coat, her eyes bright and full of life. The years of struggle had shaped her into something remarkable, not just a survivor, but a symbol of resilience, of love, and of second chances. As they walked through the field, Noah glanced down at Hope, his heart full of gratitude. "Look at you, girl," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You're not the same dog I found that day. You're stronger, you're whole, and you're mine." Hope's eyes met his, and she gave a soft bark, as if agreeing with him. Her body had healed, but it was the bond they had formed that had truly made her whole. She had come back not just for herself, but for Noah, for Mia, and for the family that had fought beside her. Together, they had made it through the darkest times, and now they were here, in a field that once held a secret, now filled with light. Noah paused, looking around at the sea of sunflowers. "This is where it all started, Hope," he said, his voice quiet, reflective. "This is where we thought we might lose you." Hope stood beside him, her body still, as if she too was remembering the past. She had been buried in this very field, fighting for air, for life, for the chance to be free. But now, the air was different. It was filled with warmth, with the sound of birds singing, and the rustling of sunflower leaves. The field was no longer a place of fear, but a place of rebirth. Noah knelt down beside her, his hand gently resting on her back. "You made it, Hope," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. "You made it, and look at you now. Look at us." Hope leaned into his touch, her body relaxed, her breathing steady. She'd come so far, from the depths of despair to this moment of peace. She had found her strength, her family, and her place in the world. As they continued their walk through the sunflowers, Noah's thoughts drifted to the puppies. Each of them had found a home, a place where they would be loved and cared for. Brave had been adopted by a family with young children. Joy had found a couple who adored her. Peanut had gone to an elderly woman who had always wanted a small companion. And Shadow had found a home on a farm where he could run and play freely. Miracle and Sunshine had both been adopted by families who loved them dearly. But it was Miracle who had stayed closest to Hope in the end. The bond they shared, forged in the darkest of times, could never be broken. And though the other puppies had found their own homes, Miracle would always be with Hope, her companion, her friend, her family. Noah smiled as he thought about the puppies. They had all brought light into the world, each of them a miracle in their own right. They had survived, they had thrived, and now they were happy, loved, and safe. The man who had hurt Hope was now in prison, facing the consequences of his actions. The world was a little bit better because he was no longer a part of it. But Hope and the puppies had never needed him to define them. They had written their own story, a story of survival, love, and hope. And now it was a story that would never be forgotten. As Noah and Hope reached the center of the field, Noah stopped and looked down at her. "This is where you found your strength," he said softly. "And this is where we found each other again." Hope's tail wagged gently, and she leaned into him, pressing her body against his side. She was home. This was where she belonged, with Noah, in the place where she had fought for her life and where she had finally found peace. Noah let out a deep breath, his heart swelling with love. "We've come a long way, haven't we, girl?" Hope barked, her voice joyful and full of life. It was a bark that echoed through the field, a bark that said, "I'm here, I'm alive, and I will always be with you." The sunflowers swayed in the breeze, their heads reaching toward the sky, as if they too were celebrating the life that had returned to this place. The field that had once held a secret was now filled with light, with hope, with love, and with the promise of a future filled with nothing but possibilities. Noah looked at Hope, his heart overflowing. "You did it," he whispered. "You came back to us." And Hope, standing tall beside her boy, gave a final joyful bark, a sound of triumph, of survival, and of a life reborn.